Let's get into it. Good afternoon, everybody. Can y'all hear me over there on Instagram? Just make sure the mic's on. I think I forgot to turn the mic on yesterday. But maybe not. Y'all can hear me over there on Instagram. Just leave a comment. Somebody leave a comment. Let me know y'all can hear my voice. What's going on, everybody? As y'all are checking in, I hope everybody's having a great day. Y'all can hear me over there? All right. Let's make sure. I think I forgot to turn the mic on yesterday. I think we were just going off straight off the device mic yesterday, but I know it's on now. All right. So as y'all coming in, you can shout yourselves out in the comments section. We're going to get started in like 15 seconds. It is hot. One thing about dressing like this in the summertime, it is hot outside. So you got to make sure you keep the AC on, drink a lot of water. I drink a lot of water anyway, but that's one thing that comes with this. Brandon Chris, what's going on, my man, over there on Facebook? We got Facebook going on live too as well. So any of y'all who's on Facebook, make sure you follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is Dre Baldwin. If you're on Instagram, follow me on Facebook. My Facebook is Facebook/work on your game. Facebook.com/work on your game. Or you just look my name up. I should be easy to find. I don't think it's too many Dre Baldwins out there. But make sure you follow me on both platforms because I might do a live on just one of them and not both. Especially if I'm traveling. I usually don't do two at the same time. And I'm about to start. Soon I'll be doing these lives. I'm going to start doing them on Zoom to where I'm going to send out a notification and you come on to the Zoom and I can see everybody on video and I can do more stuff through Zoom than I can do through Facebook or IG. So stay tuned for that. That's coming soon, probably in the next couple weeks. I got a couple pieces of equipment, couple materials I got to get in place. I already got the IP. IP is just all the stuff up here. I already got that. But I want to get a couple pieces that I can use to do that better. That's coming soon. So stay tuned. So those of y'all who are unfamiliar, my name's Dre Baldwin. Some know me as Dre all day. I'm a former 9-year pro athlete. I'm author of 31 books. All these books you see behind me. I've done 4 TED Talks. I created this whole brand called Work on Your Game. It's all about taking the tools and the skills and the attributes that I learned in the sports world and applying those tools at work and in everyday life. And today we're going to talk about your future. We're going to talk about what everybody's going to need moving forward. 6 skills, 6 skills that everybody's going to need moving forward. I don't care what you do. You could be a ball player. You could be a musician. You could be an Instagram influencer. You could be a YouTuber. You could be a construction worker, a student. Maybe you don't even know what you are right now. Maybe you're jobless right now trying to figure your life out. Maybe in the future you will be jobless trying to figure your life out. These 6 skills will help you no matter where you go, no matter what you do. If you have these skills, you will have a better chance of creating an opportunity for yourself with the 6 skills that I'm about to lay out. So let's get right into it. And at any point while I'm talking, if you have a question about anything that I say, go ahead, post it in the comments. For those of you who know me, you know I will address all questions. So ask a question. As long as it's relevant to the topic, I will address the questions. Go ahead, post it in the comment section. So let's get right into it. These are 6 skills everybody's going to need moving forward in our world. I want y'all to understand the reason why this matters is because you want to future-proof yourself. Future-proofing means it's kind of like any of you got kids. When you have a kid in your house, let's say your first child, they call it baby-proofing, right? What do you do when you baby-proof your house? It's like you put something soft on all the corners of tables and desks and chairs and stuff like that. So if the baby hits his head on it, it doesn't bust his head open and bleed to death when you're in the bathroom. So that you put the little plastic things inside the electrical outlet so the baby doesn't stick his finger in there and kill itself by getting electrocuted. You take all the sharp objects and you put them high enough that the baby can't reach it. They call that baby proofing, right? So you put things in place so that the baby can't do anything to hurt itself. Future proofing yourself means you put things in place, you put skills in place so that the future does not destroy you and your opportunities and remove any chance you have of bringing value to the marketplace. So that's what future proofing is. These 6 skills I'm about to give you will help you future proof yourself so that no matter what happens in the future, no matter what changes, no matter how things go, you are always in a position to bring value to the world so that you can create opportunity for yourself, whether that means a job, whether that means connections, whether that means people knowing about you, getting your name known, whatever it is that you want to do out there in that space. And yeah, this will be on everything gets saved to the archive. Whoever asked that question, Janet, everything gets saved to the archive. So let's get right into it. Number one, and these are in no particular order. All of these matter equally. You must learn how to sell. If you cannot sell, you can't eat. You must. This is the number one thing. And these are, again, in no particular order. Learn how to sell. What does selling mean? Selling is a very simple process. Only 3 steps in selling. I don't care what you're selling. 3 steps. Number 1, you present a product, service, offer, opportunity, person, thing, whatever. You present it so that people know that it exists. Number 2, you talk about its virtues. And number 3, you ask for the sale. 3 steps to selling. That's it. Those are the only 3 steps. Now, there's a whole lot of things you can do in each one of those 3 steps, but those are the only 3 steps to selling. Any of you who's ever bought anything, those were the 3 steps that you followed. Something was presented to you. That means someone had to let you know that it existed. That's number 1. Secondly, the person had to talk about his virtues. They had to tell you why this thing is good, why it's worth it, why it's valuable, why you need to know about it, why you need to own it, why you need to go join, why you need to come to this resort, why you need to drive this car, why you need to eat this food, why you need to, date this girl, whatever it is. The person had to share their virtues and let you know why it was valuable. And then third, they had to make the ask. They had to make the request. Will you give me this in exchange for this? That is selling. All of you must develop the skill of sales. If you cannot sell, you cannot eat. If you can't sell, you can't create opportunity for yourself. If you can't sell, then you are going to be left with the crumbs of life. You know what that means? The crumbs of life. That means whatever's left over after all the salespeople take what they want off the table, you get whatever remains, if there's anything left. And in my experience, good salespeople take all the opportunity off the table. They don't leave anything. So it's not going to be you won't even have anything to eat from the crumbs. All right, unless you're a mouse and you can survive off crumbs. Human beings were a lot bigger than mice. So you're going to need more than that. You're going to be starving. You will starve to death if you cannot learn how to sell. So when we talk about selling, I got a book called The Seller's Mindset. Where is that book? I got it down here. Let me show you. Just so y'all know who you're dealing with here, I want to make sure y'all know what I'm doing. The Seller's Mindset is this book right here. If you didn't know I had this book, you can get this at workonmygame.com/sell, SELL. This is all about the mentality around sales. And I'm going to tell you some of that mentality right now is that you have to understand that sales people and people who can sell, these are the people who get what they want in life. Understand that selling is not just about making a dollar amount or contracts or putting a suit on or standing on stages or having a whole bunch of clients or anything like that. Selling is about influence and persuasion. That is what selling is about. So when I say learn how to sell, you have to learn how to influence and persuade other people. There's a book called Influence by Robert Cialdini. It's a classic book that damn near every person who's in sales has read the book, and a bunch of people reference that book. If you have not read the book called Influence by Robert Cialdini, I suggest you go find it and you go read it. All right. Spell his name how it sounds. Go find it. I mean, if you want to sell, you can figure out how to find a book. Go get that book and read it. Read my book, The Seller's Mindset. Learn how to influence and persuade people. Read How to Win Friends and Influence People. All right. That's another book that's all about how do you get people on your side? How do you get people to agree with you? How do you get people to bend to your will? That's what sales is all about. If you cannot sell, you're going to have a problem moving forward. Everybody clear on that. If you don't know how to sell, get some help and get help ASAP. This should be an emergency situation for you if you don't know how to sell right now today. Selling is vitally important to your future success, or it will be vitally important to your future failure. All right, selling is how you get people's attention. Can you get people to listen to you if you have something to say? Can you get somebody to do what you want them to do? Can you get somebody to move out of your way if you want them to move out of your way? Can you get people to agree with your point of view? Can you make an argument and build a case for your argument and get other people to understand you, let alone agree with you, but can you get them to even understand what you have to say or listen to what you have to say? All of this is under the umbrella of selling. Selling is not just about, I got a product or a course and I put out a website and I post the link and people go pay for it. That's one version of selling. That's just one small piece of selling. Selling is also, again, it comes down to 2 words, influencing and persuading. So if you cannot influence or persuade people, you can't sell, you got trouble. So this is the number 1 skill you need to get for the future. So let's move on to point number 2. I'm gonna go over 6 of these today. 6 future-proof skills that you're gonna need moving forward. Number 2, skill of communication. You can't sell if you can't communicate, because communication is how you take whatever is in your head or whatever is in your heart, whatever you're feeling on the inside, and you put it to the outside world so that other people can understand it and get where you're coming from. And understand that communication does not necessarily mean agreement. See, selling, if you want to sell something, you got to get people to agree with you, at least on some level. Communication doesn't necessarily mean that you agree with somebody, because you can communicate with someone and you and that person can completely disagree. But communication is your ability to make sure that they understand where you're coming from and at least understand why you disagree with them. Because me and you could disagree on a point, but if I don't understand even what you're trying to say, then that means you failed in communication. If you and I could disagree on a point, but I guarantee you, if we disagree, you will know why we disagree, because you're going to know exactly where I'm coming from, because I have the skill of being able to communicate it. So whatever is in your head, you have to be able to communicate it to other people. If you want to be a good salesperson, you must be able to communicate. So communication is a sub skill of selling, is a sub skill, but by itself is a skill also, because to communicate, if you want to go on a date, if you want to build a family, if you want to any way that you want people to understand you, to know you, like you, trust you, get in your way, get out of your way, work with you, cooperate with you, help you out, whatever, you have to be able to communicate what's in your head and get it out to other people. One of the skills for communication is what I call codification. I talked about this in episode 1101 of my podcast. Codification is simply taking the knowledge that's in your head, putting it into a process that allows you to give it to other people to where they can get a result too, and they're willing to pay you for it. Codification is, for example, if any of you ever read when you were in school, you had a textbook. A textbook is codified knowledge. What does that mean? So when you were in something like science class or math class, you had a textbook. At least in college, we had textbooks, and they made us buy the textbook for $90, and at the end of the semester, they give you like $12 back. That whole hustle. I don't know what they do these days, but that's how it was when I was in college. A textbook is codified knowledge. You just took the knowledge that was in your brain, whoever the author was, or that they got from other places. They put it into a book, organized it, and now you can understand it, or at least understand it enough that you can pass the class. That's codified knowledge. When I do my podcast every day, I'm codifying my knowledge. I'm taking the things that I think and I'm breaking it down into a 20-minute digestible piece of content that you can listen to and you can understand what I'm saying. What I'm doing right now, I'm codifying the things that I know. So I have these points and I could talk about these for hours, but I'm going to break it down to about 20 to 30 minutes so that you understand it. So communication is the way that you get your point across. And being that we all have these broadcasting platforms these days, like social media, blogging, and we're all interconnected. There's so many different ways to meet people and get known and seen and heard these days. The better you can communicate, the better chances you have of moving yourself forward and building an audience if that's what you want to do, selling products if that's what you want to do, just getting the word out about whatever it is you have going on. You must have the skill of communicating, because if you can't communicate it, you can have the best idea in the world, but if nobody gets it, then how are they going to get it? You get what I'm saying? If they don't get it, they can't get it. So they have to be able to get it. Can you communicate? If you lack the skill of communication, I would suggest you do something like join a volunteer organization like Toastmasters, go to something like a Dale Carnegie course, hire yourself a coach, find yourself a speech coach or a communications coach. It depends on what kind of communication you're talking, because there are different ways of communicating these days. You can communicate verbally, like what I'm doing right now, and you can communicate through devices like on the internet, but also communication when you're talking to somebody face to face. I think we all can agree that a conversation that you have with somebody when you're looking them in the eyes in person is different than the conversation you have with somebody when you're sending a text message or a DM or even doing a live stream right now. The energy of this conversation would be different if everybody who's watching me right now was sitting in a room and I'm talking to you and we're actually in the same room than if you're watching me through the computer. So those are two different skills: communicating in person, communicating virtually, and also communicating in written format. And understand, and from my experience, now I've written a lot of books, I've written a whole lot of articles, blog posts, text messages. I do a ton of writing. I'm a prolific publisher in all formats. Writing your ideas and writing your thoughts out is more challenging than talking about them. It's easier for me to talk to you than it is for me to write to you, because writing takes more thought. It takes more time. You have to be more precise in what you're saying than when you're speaking. So I would suggest to all of you, if you want to step up your communication skills, not only work on how you talk about your stuff, but also get better at writing about it. The skill of writing persuasively to get people to influence other people, we call that copywriting. Not copywriting like the little C that you see next to somebody's brand name. Copywriting is a skill of writing persuasively and writing in a way to influence other people. You should have this skill, and you should really work on sharpening the skill at all times. Any of you who's on any of my email lists, how often do I send emails out? How often do you get an email from me? Even if you don't read them all, how often do you get them? All the time, right? That's because I'm always writing, and that allows me to keep sharpening the sword and sharpening my skill of communicating in writing. So learn how to communicate in written format, in a digital format online like this. Learn how to communicate with people in person. And if you want to communicate via audio, it's kind of similar to this, just they can't see you. So second one is communication skills. Number 3, we're talking 6 future-proof skills that you're going to need moving forward. Number 3 is the skill of making people feel good. This is a skill of triggering other people's emotions. It's really just triggering people's feelings, any kind of feeling. Hopefully is a positive feeling, but negative feelings work too. If you can trigger somebody's negative feelings, you might be able to get them to, if you're in politics, get them to vote for you instead of voting for the other politician who you might be communicating against. But triggering people's emotions is a skill, and it's a skill that can help you a lot moving forward. Because as we already talked about selling and communication, understand that people make decisions based on emotion, and they justify their decisions based on logic. So if you just have the logical ability to communicate, but you don't have the ability to trigger people's emotions, some people will buy from you still because you're talking to them on their level, which is logical. But most people, their level is emotional. To trigger them to action, you got to hit people emotionally to trigger most people to action. Some people can be triggered by logic. Most people need to be triggered by some form of emotion. So if you have that ability, it will separate you from other people moving forward, and also will separate you from the machines out there. And if you've been to a McDonald's lately, I was in Whole Foods earlier today, and in Whole Foods, there used to be a part of the store where it was like 8 customer service reps, and they had like the what do they call it? Like the express checkout lines. The express checkout line was if you had like a little basket with 10 items or less, or 20 items or less, or whatever it was. If you had that, you could go to the little express checkout line, and it was 4 people on one side, 4 people on the other side, and they check you out real quick because you had a few things you could just put on the counter, and they check you out real fast. That's been replaced. Any Whole Foods you go to now, that little space is gone, and the space is still there. That little booth is gone and has been replaced by what? Automated checkout machines. They got those at Target. They have them at any kind of grocery store. They have them at the Whole Foods. A lot of places are replacing the humans, where it used to be a certain number of humans working there. Now they got computers working there. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is to tell you this. Computers have not yet replaced humans when it comes to triggering emotions. Computers have not yet replaced humans when it comes to empathizing. That means being able to feel the emotion that another person is feeling. Computers can't quite do that as well as human beings do. Now, there may be a day when even that can replace human beings, but for now, it doesn't exist. So you want to future-proof yourself? Learn how to tap into emotions of other human beings, because a computer cannot take your job at that. A computer can take your job at bagging groceries. If that's all you can do is like scan the apples and put it in the bag. If that's all you're good at, a computer's coming for your job like today. You might get fired tomorrow because a computer is going to take your job. But if you can trigger another person's emotions, a computer can't do that quite yet. So that's one that will future-proof you. So figure out how you can do that, triggering other people's emotions. Number 4, we're talking 6 future-proof skills. Number 4 is a skill of entertaining. Again, this is another one that computers may eventually come for, but for now, a computer cannot entertain another human as well as a human can entertain another human. I mean, computers can entertain, but usually what computers are entertaining you with is what? They're showing you what another human being did. So if I turn on Netflix and I watch a docuseries on Netflix or a comedy show on Netflix, there's a human being on the screen. So even though a computer served it up, I'm still looking at a human being, right? If I watch the Dave Chappelle special on Netflix, that's a human being giving me the Dave Chappelle special. It's not Netflix, it's Dave Chappelle. That's what I'm paying attention to. So your ability to entertain other people, computers can't take this job from you, at least as of today. So if you have this ability, it matters. And why am I saying only entertainment? Because people pay more for entertainment than they pay for anything else. People spend more money going to the movies than they spend buying books. Most people would rather be entertained than educated. This is why, who's the host of the Tonight Show? You take like a Jimmy Kimmel or a Conan O'Brien or one of those people. They make more money than all the school teachers in the state of California. Why is that? Because human beings value entertainment more than we value education. even though you might value education more than entertainment, most people value entertainment over education. Again, name a famous school teacher. Name one. But name a famous person who has a TV show. We can name everybody that got a TV show is famous, right? Steve Harvey, Oprah, Conan O'Brien. What's the dude with the money show? Jim Cramer, Rush Limbaugh. He's passed away, but Bill O'Reilly. All these people everybody who has a TV show is famous to a good number of people. Name a famous school teacher. Name a famous 8th grade science professor. Name a famous, maybe some college professors might be known. And why are they known? Because they wrote a book. They did something that was entertaining. Very few people get famous off of entertainment. Actually, hardly anybody gets famous off of educating people. Very few people. But there are a whole bunch of people who are famous for entertainment, and they only have to be good. So if you can learn the skill of entertaining, you can reach more people than just with the skill of educating. I'm not saying education doesn't matter. I mean, I offer a lot of my materials, professional and personal development, but the skill of education will reach a bigger audience. Entertainment, reaches a bigger audience simply because people value entertainment more, and it's easier to be entertained than it is to be educated. If I'm going somewhere where I'm going to be educated, now I have to sit there, I have to think, I have to listen, I have to learn, I have to apply this stuff, I have to take notes. If I go to a comedy show, I don't do any of that. I don't do any work. I can just sit there and laugh. I can basically turn my brain on relax mode. But if I go for education, I got to turn my brain on paying attention mode. It's more work. It takes more effort. And this is only for a very small percentage of the population. So developing the skill of entertainment, mix it with your skill of education, and that'll help you, do more of your educating. Number 5, we're talking 6 future-proof skills. Number 5 future-proof skill is the ability to teach. Help people understand what you understand. We call this the transfer of knowledge. When you know something, it's valuable because you can use it and produce results for yourself. But if you can't transfer that knowledge to another person, then all your knowledge dies with you. When you die, all that knowledge dies too because you haven't transferred the knowledge to another person. So when you do something like create a course, you are transferring knowledge. When you do a speaking gig or you do a TED talk, you are transferring knowledge to other people, at least the people who come across it. When you write a book, you are transferring knowledge. You're taking your knowledge, you're codifying it, putting it somewhere that other people can consume it, even if they never meet you, and they can learn and know. Now they can know what you know. That is the skill of transferring knowledge. You need this ability because this is the only way you can create a legacy for yourself. Even if you're a parent and you want to teach your kids something, your ability to communicate, and you'll notice how all these pieces start to fit together. Your ability to communicate determines your ability to transfer knowledge and teach. If you can't communicate, you can't teach. All good teachers are solid communicators. Good teachers are really good communicators because they have to take the knowledge that they have in their head and they got to get it out to the other people. If they can't communicate, then the students won't get it. Any of you, when you were in school, ever had a teacher and you were like, man, this teacher they don't do a good job of teaching, or I don't quite understand what they're saying. I'm not quite getting it. Or you just felt like the teacher was, the teacher was kind of inept. They weren't really getting the job done as well as they could. That's probably because somebody on one end of that equation was failing to communicate. And understand that communication, I didn't say this when I talked about it, but I should have. Communication is not just speaking, it's also listening. Your ability to understand another person is part of your communication skills. Communication is half of it is what you give, half of it is what you take in. So being able to observe, being able to listen, all of those are part of your communication skills. And the only way you can teach to another person is, first of all, you have to be taking stuff in because you won't have anything to give. You don't have anything. So you got to have knowledge to give knowledge. All right. So that's part of your communication skills, listening, and then your ability to codify this, to take what you have in your mind, put it into your own words and get it to another person so that they can understand it on their level. That is a communication skill, is also a teaching skill. And I'll give you a quick hint, is that the simpler you can make something, the better a teacher you'll be. The smarter a person is, the more simple their explanations. The better somebody is at teaching, the more simple they can make a concept for everybody to understand. Now, when you don't quite understand a concept really well, your ability to explain it is not as good. Therefore, you have to make it really complicated. People can't quite understand you. If you don't understand it well, then you can't help other people understand it. The better you understand something, the simpler you can make it for other people. That's the skill of communication. And again, the skill of teaching. And number 6, Anybody got a question or comment about anything I said, post it now because this is the last point. Number 6 is the skill of discipline. All the things that I just talked about, you need discipline to enact these. So if you want to get better at selling, communicating, triggering people's emotions, entertaining, and teaching, you got to have the discipline to actually get the information wherever it happens to be or from whomever happens to have it, then to apply that information and then to keep working on it, because at some point you might try something and you think that it's exactly what's needed, but the people don't respond to it. So now you got to figure out, you have to discern, all right, where did I go wrong? What did I miss there? What did I not see that I should have seen in that moment? Make your adjustments, come back and do it again. Make your adjustments, come back, do it again. Because everything that I told you here, even if you take it and you start applying it immediately, doesn't mean you're going to automatically get all these great results, because you have to figure out what's your approach, what's your style, how are you going to do things. And that requires discipline. Discipline of showing up every single day, doing the work. Like I talk about on my podcast, every single day when I open it, you need all of these skills, not just the ones that are convenient for you. So let's go over these 6 again. 6 skills everybody needs moving forward. These are 6 future-proof skills. Number 1, learn how to sell. You cannot sell, you can't eat. Number 2, communication. That is not just speaking, it is also listening. It's 50-50. Your ability to express yourself, get your point across, to influence is a sales skill. Number 3, making people feel good. Connecting and triggering with other people's emotions is a skill, because computers cannot replace you when you are good at that. A computer can't do this quite yet. Computers can scan groceries at Whole Foods, but they cannot trigger emotions in other people nearly as well as a human being can. So when you have this skill, you can't be replaced by a computer. Number 4, the skill of entertainment. People pay more for entertainment than they pay for education. People spend more on average watching at the movies than they spend at the bookstore. All right, this is just a fact. Even though you might read books, most people do not read as much as they go to the movies, or they go to the bar, or they go to a nightclub, or they go to an amusement park, or that they go to the mall. Entertainment is a skill. Even if you are into education, you should learn to entertain, because it will allow you to reach more people. When you can entertain them, you can at least get their ears for a second. Now you can give them the education that they need if that's your end goal. Number 5, teaching. This is your ability to take what is in your head, explain it to another person in such a way that they can understand it and they can do something with it. All good teachers are very, very strong communicators, not only in speaking, but also in listening, and also the skill of codification. Anybody who's an author, you have to codify the knowledge that is in your head to get other people to understand it when they read your book. And number 6, discipline. Choosing what to do, what not to do, doing things efficiently, showing up every single day, doing the work. A lot of people have professional level talent and skill, but they have amateur level discipline. That's why they are not getting the results that they want to get, because their discipline is not there. It is not a lack of skill or a lack of talent or a lack of opportunity or a lack of resources or a lack of relationships. The common excuses that many people use is the fact that you are not disciplined. And first of all, making sure that you are answering the right questions. Secondly, making sure you have a strategy in place. Third, making sure your strategy is actually a sound strategy that's actually going to work. 4, being accountable to yourself, not only to your strategy, but accountable to yourself for doing the things you're supposed to do. And then 5, executing on what you're supposed to execute on. Many people just lack discipline in one of those areas. It's not a lack of skill that is causing them problems, but many people use that as an excuse because it lets them off the hook, when your real issue is your lack of discipline. So those are your 6 future-proof skills: selling, communication, triggering emotions, entertaining, teaching, and discipline. Those 6. If somebody has a question, go ahead and post it right now. I'll take a couple questions and then it'll be a wrap. Oh, and by the way, my daily motivation text, I send that out every single day for free to everyone who's in my texting community. If you want to get my daily motivation text, just text me at the number that I'm about to post I'm posting this in the comment section so everybody can see it, or in the chat so everybody can see it. And you'll be able to text me and get and if you're on Instagram, just go to my bio. You'll see the number or you'll see the link that says text, or the link is actually the link in my bio, dreallday.com/text, or just click that button that says contact us. The text thing will come up. You can text me right there. And every day when I send the daily motivation, you can receive it. Brandon said, you need to work on all, especially number 6. Anybody who needs to work on discipline, first of all, make sure you get your copy of this book called The Mirror of Motivation. Y'all see the subtitle, The Self-Guide to Self-Discipline. So any of you has a challenge with discipline, once you read a book called The Self-Guide to Self-Discipline, it says it right here. Get this book for free by going to mirrorofmotivation.com. This is the title. Take out the. Mirrorofmotivation.com. Get your copy of this book, Mirror of Motivation, Self-Guide to Self-Discipline. Any of you have a discipline challenge, This book will help you with who you need to be, who you see in the mirror, so you can do what you need to do and have what you want to have. Mirrorofmotivation.com. The book's free. Just cover the shipping. It's $9.95 to the USA. All y'all got smartphones that cost $1,000. You got $9. Get the book. That's mirrorofmotivation.com. And Brandon said audio form as well. They had a bonus bundle. You can get the audio, the digital, and the physical book. So anybody who wants all three, just go to Mirror of Motivation, get the bonus bundle. You get all three versions of the book at the same time. Question is about self-publishing. Some of my books are published by Work on Your Game Incorporated, which I will call self-publishing. And I also have books that are traditionally published through traditional publishers like Manhattan Publishers. So I've done both to answer your question. And my daily motivation. All y'all should be getting my daily motivation. As long as you're in the United States or Canada, for now, we can only text people in the USA or Canada. So if you're outside of the USA, you can't get the text as of today, but they're working on that. Daily motivation message goes out every single day to everyone who's in my text community. Here's the text. I'm just looking at, because I'm on my own text list, so I can see all the text. Every time I send a text, I get it too. These are all my daily motivation texts that I've been sending out for the last, I've been texting. I think I had this text community for like, who knows? It's been, how long has it been? Might have been almost a year now. You want to get the daily motivation, text me at this number right here, 305-384-6894. And you'll see every day I'm sending out a text. It's just populating right now. But I send out these texts every single day. Sometimes I'll ask a question to everybody who's in my text community. Sometimes I'll give you some extra stuff that you need to know about. But every day you're going to get at least one text, daily motivation every day, straight to your phone. And here's a good thing about my daily motivation text. You can respond to any text that I ever send, and that response goes straight to me. So if I look in here's my app where I respond to my text. So you see all these texts. These are all texts that I need to respond to right now. These are people who have texted me and I need to respond to them. These are all my texts. This is a text from people like y'all right here. So text me at my number and you can get that daily motivation every day. All right. So I don't see any other questions. So everybody, make sure you are in my text community or on my email list. Be in one of those places, because very soon, probably definitely by June, and June is coming up in a week, I will be doing these live streams. I'm not going to keep doing them on Facebook or IG. I'll be doing them on Zoom. And you need to be in one of my lists so that you know about it, because I will probably announce it maybe on my story, but only people are going to know about it. People are either getting my emails or my text message to know that I'm doing a live. I'm going to be doing lives via Zoom because I'll have more options. I can do more stuff there, and I can make more offers of different things that I can do in there than I can do on here. So make sure you either get in my text message or get on my email list. Do something so that you are deeper into my world than just on one of these apps, because I'm going to be doing my lives in other places moving forward. So everybody have a good Friday. Oh yeah, next month is starting. It's the 27th. So we got 4 or 5 days before the next month start. Set your goals for next month. Any of you who is not you don't normally set goals, write down your goals for next month. Write them down on paper or digitally, however you want to write, but write down your goals for the month. All professionals set goals. High performers set goals. Underachievers don't have goals. And people who don't achieve, they don't set goals. They just randomly do stuff and hope that it works out. Set goals. Write them down. Everybody clear on that? All right, everybody, have a good weekend. Work on your game. We out of here.